We begin today with the mystery of Bethany Decker, a young military wife and mother who suddenly goes missing while her husband is deployed overseas. As Michelle Sagona tells us, it appears Bethany was caught in a dangerous love triangle.
Bethany is the oldest of my children, and she's born in Hawaii, so I call her my flip-flops and lip gloss girl.
Bethany Ann Decker was finally seeing the light at the end of a long road.
Extremely great student. She did very well in high school. She graduated with over a 4.0.
The 22-year-old was just a few credits shy of graduating from George Mason University with a degree in global environmental change. It seemed her studies by day and hard work as a waitress at night were about to pay off.
What she looked at was wanting to change the world in a positive way.
With Bethany away at college, at first it didn't worry her mother, Kim Nelson, that she hadn't communicated with her daughter in over 3 weeks.
What was her phone doing? Was it just going to voicemail?
Her phone was going to voicemail, and we didn't realize at the time that nobody had been hearing from her, during that entire time. Like, we had each been contacting her but hadn't heard back.
But one weekend morning, Kim received a number of strange and foreboding phone calls. Some of Bethany's friends had noticed unusual posts on her Facebook page.
It was a Saturday morning, and I had messages from 4 different people from different parts of the country that said, there's somebody on Facebook that's on Bethany's login, but it's not Bethany. It didn't sound like Bethany, didn't use terms that Bethany would use. What's going on? Is there something wrong?
Kim's heart sank. She immediately called her own parents, asking them to check on Bethany since they lived closer to her Ashburn, Virginia apartment.
They actually drove there, and they noticed that Bethany's car was parked crooked. It had a flat tire. It was dusty. And they had been by the week before, and it wasn't like that. And so they were really concerned. It was unusual.
The unused car was a clue that something clearly wasn't right. A knock at her door soon proved that Bethany was nowhere to be found.
That's when I said, call the police.
Investigators swarmed the complex, interviewing neighbors, friends, and family. But 3 weeks had passed since Bethany had been seen. Only her car was left behind.
The vehicle was searched, and there was nothing leading us to any location that she might be at or where it might have gone.
Yeah, they went and opened up the apartment. The apartment was empty, except for just a bag of her clothes.
There were no signs of foul play or a physical altercation. Her bank cards had not been used, and interviews with neighbors yielded nothing.
They had search teams out, dogs. Subsequent to that, they looked into dumpsters to see if there was any human remains.
Bethany had literally disappeared without a trace.
When he asked me the question, do you think your daughter's in danger? I said, yes, I think she's in danger.
She's reported missing on February 19th, 2011 by her grandmother.
21 days after she was last seen.
As investigators dug into Decker's mysterious disappearance, they learned Bethany was living on her own, but married to Emil Decker, a fellow student she had met at the university.
What did you learn initially?
We looked at her husband, who was actually on active duty with the, I believe it was the National Guard. He was in Afghanistan during a period of time.
The couple had a toddler son who was living with Kim, giving Bethany the time to attend school.
Kai, you playing with your Elmo toy?
He's really just an amazing little boy who has a lot of his mom in him.
But long before Bethany disappeared, her mother claims the marriage with Emil had encountered serious problems when he deployed.
They did have some difficulties, and he was gone.
Kim believes Bethany was trying to repair the relationship. In fact, Emil was back on leave from his service overseas, and the two had recently taken a trip together. According to police, Emil had seen Bethany the day before she disappeared.
At some point, did you ever think that Emil had something to do with this?
He was, as a family member, he was her husband. He was still legally married to her and had seen her shortly before she was last seen.
And realizing direct message posts were made from her private Facebook account after her disappearance.
We're not so sure she was posting them.
Who do you think was posting it?
It had to have someone that had, her account access.
Police needed to determine if Emil could be responsible in any way for Bethany's disappearance.
I just want to give a lovely shout out to my wife who lives in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and to my son, Kai. I love you and I miss you very much.
But as detectives peered inside Bethany's inner circle, they soon uncovered secrets and dark clues that pointed in two different directions. While Emil was deployed, Bethany had met another man named Ronald Roldan in a local restaurant where they both worked.
What were Bethany and Ronald at the time?
Bethany and Ronald were in a relationship and were living together.
Now, as police investigated further, they wondered, did a love triangle hold any clues to her disappearance? The very question raised more frightening details about Bethany's double life.
He was very abusive. It was unbelievable how Bethany would be involved in something like that.
When we come back, days turned into months with no sign of Bethany.
Ronald initially had cooperated with police to tell them that he had seen her that day in the afternoon before she was supposed to have gone to work, and she never showed up.
And later, another violent episode. Would it help police connect the dots?
There had been an altercation, and Ronald had shot his girlfriend. She was in the hospital in critical condition.